If we're trying to empathize with the millions of people who go out every day, grinding on their feet, not living a life of luxury, then honestly, that's just not the vibe you get from a Jamie Lloyd production of Evita. Trust me, there's no need to stress over her career like that. There will always be people who see you as competition or try to make you feel less worthy than you truly are. I recently came across a video claiming Rachel Zegler doesn't have a single movie lined up after Snow White. She was quietly warned behind closed doors, but she ignored it. And now she could be facing serious consequences. I deserve to be paid for every hour my work is streamed online. According to some explosive rumors swirling around Broadway, Rachel Zegler might be on the hook for a staggering $5 million fine, directly tied to her conduct on the Evita set. Not because she quit, not because she walked away, but because insiders are pointing to repeated on-set outbursts that allegedly triggered a hidden clause in her contract. This clause is specifically meant to penalize stars who damage a production's reputation, and sources say the producers are now wielding it as a weapon. It's the kind of contract term you only hear about when things go wildly off track. And if the rumors are true, Zegler may have seriously crossed the line. In the film world, as an actor, many outsiders assume that if you're a high-profile name attached to a project, you have a lot of control or insider knowledge. But that's rarely the case. As an actor, you don't decide if a film gets made. You don't decide when or how it's shot. You don't even get to talk about it publicly. Your job is simple. Show up, say your lines, and look the way the production wants. That's exactly what my role was on this production. So honestly, this feels like the route Rachel should have taken instead of running her mouth for the past 3 years. This all comes right after Rachel finally broke her silence on the Evita fiasco, reportedly blaming the cast and insisting she was set up from the start. But now, it seems the people behind the show are pushing back, and they're going straight for her wallet. A $5 million fine over things she said off stage. And the wildest part? Her team isn't even denying it. They're just giving a firm, no comment. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, it's utter chaos. What happens next could unravel everything she's worked for. A lot of what you see from Zegler is a pretty typical Gen Z attitude toward work. She believes she should freely express herself, speak her truth, or whatever else, no matter the fallout for others. But the reality is, you have a job. You get paid for it. You signed the contract. You accepted the role. And that job comes with some basic responsibilities. One of the most fundamental is to maintain self-control and carry yourself publicly in a way that doesn't damage the project. Because when the project suffers, hundreds of others working on it do too. When Rachel Zegler's alleged private messages leaked, where she reportedly blamed the Evita cast for making the production toxic, the internet exploded. It wasn't just a message. It was a declaration of war. In those leaked texts, she didn't hold anything back. She supposedly claimed she was set up, that those around her never wanted her there, and that every single day of rehearsal, she felt like an outsider. It was raw, emotional, and clearly not meant for public eyes. But once it got out, there was no turning back. When you're putting in your best effort, pouring hours into nailing a character for a big audition, and then see a producer or casting director just casually eating in front of you, yeah, that can be incredibly frustrating. Personally, I've never experienced that, but I can imagine how annoying it must be. Fans quickly divided. Some stood by her, saying she was finally standing up for herself. But others? They saw it as just another example of Rachel shifting blame and throwing others under the bus when things didn't go her way. And the cast? Completely silent. No public responses, no confirmations or denials, no statements, just a wall of silence, which only made the whole situation feel even more ominous. But behind that quiet, something was definitely brewing. Is this fallout tied to Snow White? Or is there something else going on? Are we really just jumping on another woman's hate train? Honestly, this is starting to feel all too familiar. Reminds me of another woman who faced a similar backlash. But that's a story for another time. I'm not about to sit back and let yet another hate campaign target a woman. According to fresh sources close to the production, those leaked messages weren't just embarrassing. They were the final breaking point. Tensions had apparently been simmering for a while. Rumors of missed rehearsals, passive-aggressive attitudes, and private complaints from crew members had been circulating. Now, insiders say the producers have had enough. They've reportedly dusted off the contract, found a damaging clause, and are ready to put it to use. Rachel Zegler is reportedly frustrated with the backlash we've seen. She's been speaking in riddles. Here's what she said. And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see. Oh, Rachel, I hate to burst your bubble, but people definitely didn't line up to see you. There's a clause that could hit Rachel where it hurts most. Not her reputation, but her wallet. If what's being planned is true, she could face a multi-million-dollar penalty. But here's the wild part. This might not even be about money. It could be about sending a message. Because what happened next shocked even her biggest supporters. One thing I truly admire about Rachel Zegler is her authenticity. She's unapologetically herself. She calls things out when needed and takes strong stances. I love her for that. She's an absolute icon. I'll be a Rachel Zegler stan forever. Literally, till the end of time. Like, seriously, there's no going back on that. I absolutely adore this icon. Such a powerhouse. Her singing, oh my god. Her acting, oh my god. Her innovation, oh my god. Rachel, why do you do this to me? I've got no money. No money at all. And you, what? You're making me go to Evita? You're making me go to Evita because I want to see you. I want to witness you being the powerhouse that you are. I love you so much, Rachel. Rachel Zegler, I really, truly do. Big stars like Rachel don't just sign simple contracts. They sign complex, multi-layered agreements with clauses that most people have never even heard of. Clauses designed not only to protect the production, but to control the star. According to fresh leaks circulating on theater forums and industry gossip channels, Rachel's Evita contract reportedly includes a so-called conduct and reputation clause. Simply put, if she says or does anything, on or off stage, that could hurt the production's image or cost it money, she owes a penalty. And that penalty could be as high as $5 million. The Rachel Zegler effect is in full swing. Something happened during a late-night rehearsal. No one knows exactly what, but a formal complaint was documented and handed to production leaders. From that moment on, everything shifted. Insiders say producers immediately started consulting lawyers. They pulled out Rachel's contract, combed through every clause, and began calculating what they could enforce, just in case the situation escalated. And all of this unfolded before the leaked messages, before Rachel allegedly blamed the cast, before fans turned against her. They pulled out Rachel's contract, combed through every clause, and began calculating what they could enforce, just in case the situation escalated. And all of this unfolded before the leaked messages, before Rachel allegedly blamed the cast, before fans turned against her, before her silence broke and the drama exploded publicly. To outsiders, it looked like Rachel finally spoke her mind. But to the producers, it was a red flag. A star going rogue. While Rachel stayed quiet in public, insiders reveal producers meticulously documented everything. Not just to keep track, but to intimidate her into backing down. Or to build a case strong enough to trigger that devastating contract clause. For them, this isn't just drama anymore. It's about control. And their next move? It could be their boldest yet. When the leak surfaced, fans assumed Rachel controlled the story. But behind closed doors, sources say the reality was very different. While Rachel allegedly sent private messages throwing castmates under the bus, the Evita producers remained perfectly silent. Strategically silent. No statements. No denials. No defending the cast. Instead, they pulled out the contract. Sources close to the production now claim the $5 million clause isn't just about collecting money. It's a threat. A clear message to Rachel that her contract is a leash. And they're holding the other end. This isn't merely punishment. It's a power move. By letting the clause become public knowledge, without uttering a word, producers reclaimed control of the narrative. They're letting fear do the talking now. Fear of financial ruin. Fear of legal consequences. Fear of being branded difficult. A career death sentence for any rising star. Many believe this move was perfectly timed. Why now? Why leak the clause after Rachel's blame game went public? Because allegedly, the producers had reached their limit. Enough behind-the-scenes tension. Enough PR disasters. Enough watching their show and its revenue sink with every scandalous headline. And this threat? It sends a crystal clear message to everyone in the industry. Fall in line, or we'll drown you in paperwork. It's the kind of pressure that doesn't just silence a star, it isolates them. Because now, everyone in the room knows who's really in charge. And it's not Rachel. She may have thought going public would flip the script. Instead, she might have triggered a response she can't undo. So the big question, was the producer's move just a bluff? Or are they really about to drop a $5 million hammer? As word spread about the alleged $5 million fine, fans did what they always do. They picked sides. On one side, those who believed Rachel finally went too far. Actions have consequences, one viral tweet said. She's been acting like a diva for months. If the producers are pushing back, good. That sentiment wasn't rare. Since her Snow White comments, Zegler has become a lightning rod for criticism. Some call her arrogant, others say immature, but nearly everyone agrees her media presence has been chaotic. Reddit's exploded overnight. One user wrote, "She's tanking her career in real time. I've never seen a self-destruct this fast." Another added, "This is what happens when you forget Broadway isn't Hollywood. You don't get to act out and walk away clean." But not everyone was celebrating. A growing number of longtime fans believe the fine is deeply unfair. She's being scapegoated, one fan posted on TikTok. Why treat her like a criminal for being emotional? She's 22, under insane pressure. Others questioned the producer's silence. If this fine is real, why isn't anyone confirming it? Feels like a rumor leak to manipulate the press. Then came the comparisons. People pointed to male stars who had public meltdowns, cursed directors, or stormed off sets, and still kept working, with no million-dollar penalties. Now the conversation has shifted. From what did Rachel do wrong, to how are young women treated when they speak out? Some say she brought this on herself. Others say she's being made an example of, publicly punished to keep everyone else quiet. Either way, the divide is growing. And Rachel? She's saying nothing. But if that silence continues, speculation will only get louder, because the next chapter might not come from her. It might come from the courts. Let's be real. A $5 million fine isn't a slap on the wrist. It's career-altering. But is it enforceable? Or is it all smoke and mirrors? Legal experts are split. Some say yes. If Rachel's contract included a detailed conduct clause, producers could demand compensation if they prove her behavior caused financial or reputational harm, especially if they've documented complaints and disruptions. Others say it's more complicated. Enforcing a clause like this requires showing her actions directly affected the show's performance. A tough legal hurdle. After all, Evita is still running. Tickets are still selling. And Rachel is still showing up. That's why some believe this whole thing is a scare tactic, a way to remind Rachel who's in charge without actually suing. But here's the twist. It doesn't matter if the fine is real or not. The idea alone has already done the damage. In the court of public opinion, Rachel is now tied to on-set chaos, massive penalties, and a fight with her own employers. Whether or not she pays a cent, the story is out there. And when your name becomes a warning instead of a headline, that's when careers start to crumble. Rachel Zegler survived the Snow White storm. She clawed her way into Broadway. But this might be the moment it all falls apart. Unless she plays her next move very carefully. So here we are, after weeks of silence, after the implosion of one of the most hyped stage revivals in years, Rachel Zegler has finally spoken, not with a formal statement, not with a heartfelt apology, but through leaks, rumors, whispers so loud they don't feel like whispers anymore. Most striking, she didn't say "I'm sorry." She said "they did this to me." That's not an apology. That's a pivot, a spin, a choice. Now the question isn't just what went wrong with Evita, it's much bigger. It's about Rachel Zegler herself. Is she owning her downfall or rewriting the story to protect her image? Let's look at the facts. The rehearsal drama, confirmed by multiple backstage sources. Her conflicts with cast members, whispered about for months. Tension with the director and vocal coach, reportedly so bad some crew threatened to walk off and off. And yet, in her version, now viral on TikTok and Reddit, she was cornered, targeted, sabotaged. It's a powerful narrative, but also convenient, because Rachel's been here before. She made headlines during Snow White for mocking the original story, trashing the Prince character, and alienating Disney fans. Instead of apologizing, she doubled down, calling critics weird, misogynistic, and outdated. Then came Shazam 2, where she admitted she only took the role for the paycheck. Backlash exploded. Again, she didn't walk it back, just blocked critics and went silent. Now with Evita, it's the same playbook. Go quiet when backlash begins, let the narrative build, leak a version where she's the misunderstood one, re-emerge as the survivor, not the participant. It's PR in 4 acts, but to some, it's starting to look like a pattern. Because through it all, one thing never changes. It's never Rachel's fault. To her defenders, that's strength. They say she's a young Latina actress navigating a brutal industry, and people want to see her fail because she's bold, loud, and refuses to conform. And that's not entirely wrong. Hollywood is brutal. Women, especially women of color, face impossible standards. Broadway is even more cutthroat, especially for outsiders without classical training. So maybe Rachel was pushed too far. Maybe the set was toxic. Maybe no one listened when she spoke up. But even if that's true, there's a difference between explaining your side and blaming everyone else. Because Evita didn't fall apart alone. It took dozens of people, choreographers, lighting techs, dancers, vocal coaches. When it imploded, they all walked away bruised. Not just Rachel. So the leaks, the blame game, the spin, it might win sympathy in some circles, but it alienates others, the people who worked with her, and feel thrown under the bus so one star could save her brand. That's the danger of always playing victim. Eventually, even supporters ask, okay, but what was your role in all this? Maybe that's where we are now. Rachel Zegler's career isn't over, not by a long shot. She's talented, ambitious, undeniably captivating. But talent without humility? That's a tough sell. If this is her final play in the Evita saga, to rewrite, deflect, and walk away clean, she better be ready for the fallout. Because Hollywood loves a comeback, but it never forgets. Every burned bridge, every castmate slighted, every backstage whisper, they don't vanish. They echo, they build, they shape what happens next. So we end where we began. Is Rachel owning her story or blaming her way out of it? Right now, the answer depends on who you ask. Some say she's reclaiming the narrative, others say she's digging herself deeper. One thing is certain, this isn't the end. It's just the beginning. And if you're following this saga, you won't want to miss what's next.